Vice presidential nominee Senator Kamala Harris is heading to Atlanta this week. She's hoping to expand the map and help Democrats win two crucial Senate seats. Here's the latest poll out of Georgia from the New York Times and Siena College. It has Joe Biden and President Trump running even, with 10% of voters still undecided or voting third party. Mr. Trump clinched the state by about 5 percentage points in 2016. Greg Bluestein covers politics and government for the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, and he joins me now with more. Greg, welcome back. Great to see you again. So according to the U.S. Elections Project, close to 2 million people have already voted in Georgia. That's close to half the total turnout from 4 years ago, with 9 days of early voting to go before it ends next Friday. Based on the turnout so far, do we know who this actually benefits?
I mean, right now there are some early indications that Democrats are building a little bit of a lead, but it's hard to analyze or predict too much from these early returns, especially when in election day in Georgia, Republicans tend to benefit. Either way, it's looking like a very close matchup. As you just saw from the New York Times poll, it couldn't be closer, and that's not some outlier. Poll after poll after poll in Georgia show it too close to call, either statistically tied like this New York Times poll or within the margin of error. And the difference in this year, as in previous election years, is that Republicans and Democrats both agree that the dynamics couldn't be closer.
Well, as you reported, Senator Harris is visiting Atlanta. She's become a bit of a flashpoint in one of the two Georgia Senate races after incumbent Republican David Perdue repeatedly mispronounced the VP candidate's name at last week's rally for President Trump. Let's go ahead and listen to that.
Kamala or what? Kamala, I don't know. Whatever.
Now, Senator Harris's press secretary called the comments incredibly racist. It's worth noting both senators sit on the budget committee together. But do we have any indication, Greg, whether this has impacted Perdue's campaign at all?
Yeah, well, he said that it was inadvertent, that he wasn't meaning to mock the pronunciation of her name. Viewers can judge that for themselves. They just heard what he said. But what we know is happening on the campaign trail is that Jon Ossoff has raised about $2 million from more than 40,000 donors in the 48 hours since Senator Perdue uttered those words. So he's seeing a bump in fundraising and media attention. This has been a constant story in Georgia media over the last few days in a way that I didn't really expect. I thought it kind of was going to be a 1 or 2 day story, but it has continued to be a story in Georgia.
Yeah, I wonder why you think that is. I'm just curious. I mean, I know we've talked about this before, just the changing demographics in the state. It's not the same Georgia that it was, just a few years ago.
Yeah, I mean, part of it's because of, exactly right, the suburbs of Atlanta are increasingly competitive. Just 2 years ago, you saw Stacey Abrams win a majority in Atlanta's northern suburbs. She flipped counties. She won counties that Democrats had not won in gubernatorial races in years. Hillary Clinton defeated Trump in several metro Atlanta counties, vote-rich suburbs full of voters. And one of the congressional districts, the 6th district, which is spanning the northern arc of Atlanta, flipped to Luce and McBath. Democrats hope to expand on those gains, while Republicans are trying to wring out every single vote they can from rural Republican areas. And that's why President Trump was here on Friday in middle Georgia, in a central Georgia at an airport, trying to rally white rural voters to his cause.
Well, Greg, let's talk about the other Senate race in Georgia. The country's newest and wealthiest senator, Republican Kelly Loeffler, faces challenges from the left and the right. Under what circumstances could this election go past the new year?
Yeah, we're expecting it fully to go past the new year into January 5th, when it will be the center of the national spotlight with the January 5th runoff. Right now, it looks like Democrat Raphael Warnock, who, as you see, is at 32%, and that's not an outlier poll. Many of the recent polls have shown him with a clear lead. But in Georgia, you need 50% plus one. You need a majority of the vote to avoid a runoff. So he's far short of that goal. And meanwhile, the two Republicans, Senator Loeffler and Congressman Doug Collins, are locked in a bitter Republican-on-Republican feud. They're both courting Trump voters as aggressively as they possibly can. They're echoing Trump's rhetoric. They are battering each other, calling each other phony conservatives and fakes, as they're trying to wring out as many Republican votes as they can in this race. So very close dynamics, and everyone in Georgia pretty much expects this to go to a January 5th runoff.
Wow. All right. No shortage of fascinating storylines out of your state. Greg Bluestein for us. Greg, always great to have you. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.